You're listening to Homeschool Unrefined. I'm Maren.
And I'm Angela. Let's encourage each other, laugh, and get real about homeschool.
Welcome to the podcast where we keep homeschool simple, real, and fun. You've got episode 85 where we pare down curriculum, co-ops, and clubs.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Homeschool Unrefined. We're so glad you're here. We're so glad you make time for us each week. And if you're new, welcome. We're glad to have you. We'd love to give a special shout out to our Patreon supporters. Thank you for supporting us. If you are interested in a new episode each month, you can also support us at patreon.com/homeschoolunrefined.
Yes, and we are very excited to announce that next week we're going to have a special guest. Greta Eskridge will be joining us on the show. She is just a wonderful person to talk to. We've been talking about nature all summer, talking about the book How to Raise a Wild Child by Scott D. Sampson, and Greta is just such a great person to end the summer with talking about that, because she is just a homeschool nature lover, expert,
enthusiast,
yes.
Yeah.
And when Scott Sampson talks about having this wonder of nature, Greta has that.
For sure. She's inspiring. After listening to her, even after I read the whole book and I was really inspired, I thought I've gotten all my nature inspiration probably. But no, after listening to her, I was even more inspired.
Yes. Yeah.
I think because her enthusiasm is contagious. So you're going to love that episode.
It is. I know. Yes.
Yeah.
So tune in next week. That is going to be so fun to listen to. I cannot wait.
Yeah. So Maren.
Yes.
What did you do this morning?
I know. It's always fun to talk about what we did before we do this podcast, because we scramble.
A little bit. There's a little scramble.
A little scramble every time. I had a new chiropractor appointment this morning. Trying out a new chiropractor.
Now, when you say chiropractor, what do you mean?
Well, so I know there's so many different kinds of chiropractors these days, really, too. But so I think she's a chiropractor. She used to be a massage therapist. She also does just lots of women's health stuff, and just general health too.
Yep. So she sees patients. She sees patients to talk about their health issues, not just do adjustments.
Right, all around, holistic life kind of stuff. So I'm very optimistic. I've been seeing lots of different people for 3 years after I had this car accident, and we've all heard about it. But it's hard for me to switch providers, because I just feel like this sense of loyalty almost.
Yeah, I
do.
Yeah,
even if it's not the best fit, sometimes I feel loyal.
Is it loyalty, or is it just hard to break up with people?
Yeah. Well, probably both.
Because for me, it's just hard to break up with people.
Oh, okay.
And I feel like maybe if I just stick it out a little bit, it will work.
Yeah, and that's what I think a lot of care providers say too, we just need to keep doing this, but which, and sometimes you do.
Yeah.
So I just really felt very strongly that I needed to find somebody different, and I just didn't know where. But anyway, I found a great person. I'm very optimistic. I'm super excited.
That's great. You're so optimistic about her that I called her.
Yep.
See if she could take on my case. I haven't met her yet. I haven't met her in person, but I did talk to her on the phone, and I was also really impressed because she seemed to get what I was saying. She seemed to understand my symptoms and stuff. And then also, she doesn't make a whole big treatment plan that you have to pay up front for.
Right.
Yeah. And she says she doesn't want to see you that often. This is what you know what she said? I didn't tell you this. She said, I tell my patients I love you, but I don't want to see you that much.
Yeah.
I like that.
I know. Thank you. That's how I feel about my doctor too. That's how I feel. So anyway, all this to say, I think it's so important for us to not try to be super nice to our care providers. It's not our responsibility to have a positive relationship with,
Yeah.
Every person we see all the time, which I feel like I think women especially feel a little pressure in our culture to kind of do that. And we don't have to. It's not our responsibility.
Yeah. I mean, you can have a good relationship with somebody, but just if it's not working.
Right,
okay.
right.
It's okay to stop.
It's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, and
but
it's important for me to find the person who's great for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. But that's also, we need to acknowledge that that's a lot of work because changing providers, I mean, looking up people, calling to make initial appointments. It's like it's so much energy.
Dealing with insurance.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And emotionally, it's you're not sure if you're making the right decision. Is this even going to work? Am I going to go through all this trouble and in the end it will be for nothing? Or right. So it's hard.
Yes, it is. It is.
Good for you.
Yeah. So I think it'll be a good change. And even if it's not like amazingly perfect, I think it was time for me to change and do something different. So it's good no matter what. It'll be good.
Yeah.
It'll be great. So
good.
Yeah. What did you do this morning?
Well, let's see. My kids went to karate. This is not exciting. My kids went to karate. And I voted.
Great.
It's primary. I don't know if it's primary election day in other states. I'm not sure, but it is in Minnesota. So
yeah, I feel like it is, but
I feel really proud of myself because I actually looked up all the people on the ballot, including all the judges and everything. And I've never done that before. I mean, I usually pay attention to the big names,
Yes.
And I usually I would say I'm very informed. Like, I would have thought that.
Yes.
But then when I get into the voting booth and, like, the second half of the people, you don't know who they are. You're just like, yeah, okay.
Right.
I never knew. Right, so I either left those blank or I just, whatever. So this time I was like, it is so important.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So important. Mm-hmm. Like, your mayor and your judges.
The judges. There's so many judges.
Now that I've done jury duty, I'm like, judges are important.
Oh, yes. They are. And after we listened to In the Dark.
I know. Judges are real important.
They're important.
And prosecutors and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I researched all of them and I had a plan going in. So I felt good about that.
You inspired me to do research too.
Did you do research?
I am. I'm in the process of it. I haven't finished going through everybody yet, so I'm going to vote later today.
Yeah.
And I probably for the first time will feel the most, really informed and ready.
Yeah.
I think it's rare. Do you think it's rare that people know have done that much research? Because this is my first time doing all this research.
Yeah, I think it might be rare. I don't know. Maybe people are more involved in local politics than I am.
Maybe. I'm sure there's some people who are, but then also I feel like, do most people just go by the flyers they get in the mail or?
Like a name they've heard?
Yeah. They know a friend of a friend or I don't know. I wonder.
I know. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But nobody came to my door this year. Has anybody come to your door?
No.
I find that really interesting.
Yeah.
Because there's, mayor and city council people are running. And so they didn't come to my house.
Yeah, that is very interesting.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's usually pretty normal.
And then, some of their websites aren't great, which I know this is just, local politics.
No, they're not.
So I understand. And us having a website, I know how hard it is to put up a website.
I know.
I get it.
And ours is so simple. But it was so hard.
I know. It may not look great, but it took so much effort.
Totally.
So I get that, but also I need a place to learn more about you. And some people don't even have websites. So then I was looking on their Facebook page and stuff.
Well, and I think also just the government page is so bad.
Yeah.
So bad.
Well, yeah.
I just think it's so interesting that there's not more information just directly on the government website of all of our people who they want us to vote, know more about too.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So today our title is Where We Pare Down Curriculum, Co-ops, and Clubs.
Yes.
And what we usually do, or, what we do a lot of times with our podcast is talk about what's going on in our life right now. So, like, this is a big topic for Maren and I right now.
Yes.
This is what we're dealing with. So,
exactly.
We're going to talk about it. It's timely for us, at least. Yeah.
A lot of times we pick topics for our podcast about things we need to process right now.
Yep.
Where we're at, we need to process it, and we need to help each other through it, and we need to have some like good self-talk. And we figured this will be good. Hopefully will be helpful to someone else too.
Yeah, because I know other people are going through this too. I know everybody's looking at curriculum and looking at co-ops and trying to figure out what they're going to do for the fall. Yeah. It's kind of a scramble. So
it is. And it's so interesting because like I usually think I usually have this processing time at the end of our spring, when we're closing up school in the spring, May or something. And I really reflect on how the year went and where I think where I could see us going next year and what we might be doing. So I do lots of reflection then. And I even start doing some work with co-ops or curriculum or clubs. And, do a little bit of research, send out some emails, maybe a few phone calls. I don't know. But then I feel like a lot of people aren't ready to tell me about the fall yet, which makes sense. They're just closing up the spring stuff, right? So it's not really the right time for me to be planning all that stuff. And yet that's when it's like top of mind for me. So it's just like it just doesn't work out. So then I kind of drop it. And then it's, August 1st rolls around and I see everybody on Instagram getting all their stuff together. And I just start freaking out again. I just kind of freak out. And I'm like, oh my goodness, where was I last May? Where had I dropped everything? I got to pick everything back up right now. And it's just kind of like a scramble, right?
Yeah.
August is like a scramble then.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't do that. I don't do any reflection in May. When we're done, I'm just like, good. I don't have to think about this anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't for a while.
I know, yeah. Yeah. And that's probably why when I emailed you or texted you a bunch of things, you're like, I don't know.
I know. You texted me some stuff in May, and I was like, what is she doing? She's planning ahead. I don't know what I'm doing.
I know.
I haven't thought about this. Well, and then I started to freak out a little bit. If Maren is planning this, I gotta be.
Yeah, but then what happened is like, last week you started texting me about stuff, and then I was like, oh man, I gotta get going. I need to get going on this stuff. So
I know. We can't do that. We gotta just be on our own timeline.
Yeah, you're right.
I know.
But I mean, also there are things we do have to be on somebody else's timeline for. there are things.
I don't know. I think something you've taught me is other people's timelines are not the boss of you. So like just because soccer sign up is August 15th.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you have to do that. You might miss it. You might be able to sign up later. You might find a different league that does something later, or you might do it next year. It's not a big deal. Just do it on your timeline and see what's available when you're ready.
Yeah, you're right. You're totally right.
I tried. Well, I learned that from you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good job. I'm right. But I mean, I know I need to keep telling myself these things, and you have to keep telling me them, obviously. But I mean, I feel like, though, as my kids get older, too, it's becoming more and more important that I make the timeline.
For yourself?
If it's for them. Like, they don't forget that we were going to sign up for soccer and then just never did. Or whatever it is. Yeah. They don't forget the thing that's super important to them anymore.
Right.
Like, if
they
want to do it, they're not going to forget anymore.
There are some things.
Yeah.
You have to be on top of. Yeah, I get that.
But also, I do feel like, and I mean, this was easier when my kids were younger too, but if it's really important, I won't forget to sign up.
No,
probably.
Right.
If it's the highest priority, I won't forget to sign up. If I do forget to sign up, I mean, I just have to be real honest with myself and ask, why did I forget? I mean,
yeah,
maybe it wasn't as important as I really thought it was anyway.
Yeah.
Or
So
not forget. It's not even forget. It's more just like, if I didn't even have time to do the sign up, or it wasn't a good time for me to sign up, then maybe it just, I don't know, maybe it just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah. So what started happening to me, not started, but I feel like, there's a bunch of possibilities that are showing themselves.
So many possibilities.
In August. And they come from like me seeing stuff online, or me remembering stuff, or the kids telling me stuff they might want to do.
Yeah.
Or me asking the kids, like, do you want to learn a band instrument? And then they tell me how much they want to, or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's just all these things coming at me, and I'm feeling like, oh no, I got to make decisions about these 10 things. And I got to fit it into this puzzle of our week.
Now, when August 1st comes, or whatever the date is, and you are kind of inundated with all these choices, is your first reaction like, oh, good, this is going to be great for our fall, we need things to do? Or do you think, ugh, I got to fit all this stuff in?
I don't know. More like, ugh, I got to fit this stuff in. And so, well, I mean, some things are great, because I think like we're gonna need some stuff to do, so we might as well sign up for something. But mostly I dread all the things, and maybe that's because I'm an introvert and I don't like leaving the house and having things on the calendar.
And I think you're a questioner too, so you question everything goes through a filter, like, is this
worth spending an afternoon a week on? Is this really important to us? You do that first, and I do that last sometimes. Maybe not last, but like my first reaction to all those things are, oh, this is going to be so great, I'm so excited. But then my next reaction is, oh my gosh, how are we going to, I have to drive all these places, and especially after having a conversation with my husband, who he goes through that filter right away too, and he's like, so you want to drive this day on Monday, and you want to drive this way on Tuesday, and you want to go here on Wednesday? Is that what you're telling me? And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Yeah, I know. Jeremy's like that too a little bit. I was asking him about some things, like, should we do this? Do you think we should do this? And he's like, I'm going to need to see like a weekly calendar because I don't even know what you have going on. So like maybe we need to like look at an example week.
Yeah.
And then decide.
Oh, that's so good.
I'm like, oh yeah, I should probably do that.
I know.
I said, I have that in my head, actually. He's like, yeah, I can't help you until I see that.
I guess my first filter is not the schedule. It's more just like, is this something my kids would really enjoy and get a lot out of?
Yeah.
First. And then I guess, the schedule, and I do have to look at that.
Yeah. I do think about, are my kids going to, is this really going to benefit them too? That is part of it too for me.
Yeah. I think you and I probably do that more, first than the schedule part.
But one thing I realized like a couple weeks ago is I need to remember my own advice from seasons past.
Yes.
If it's not a heck yes, it's a no.
Yep.
And all of these things, if it was a for sure yes, it's already in the calendar.
You're right.
Like Adventure Co.
Yes.
That's a for sure yes for us. So I don't know what day that's going to be on, but I know it's a given.
Right.
Everything else really isn't. I'm like trying to decide, is this worth it? Is this not? Well, it's obviously not that important. So
totally.
I feel like what I should do is just start the year, and you can always add stuff later. And I gotta remember that, because so many times I add too much at the beginning, and then I slog through all that driving back and forth.
I know. You're
for
right.
the year.
And I've learned that from you you just add later.
Add later. There's always stuff to add later. It may not be the thing you wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's going to be stuff to add later.
Yes. Yeah. Get the one important thing that you really want on the calendar. And then that's so good.
So I feel like I'm just one by one saying no to all these things.
Yeah.
They're just dropping off the list because they must not be that important. And so that has felt amazing. once I've said no in my
Yeah.
mind, that has been amazing. I love that feeling. So
it's so interesting because sometimes those co-ops, when the first idea comes into my mind, I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel like, oh good, I need a break. So this is going to be a good break for me, and our kids are going to get away out of the house.
Yeah.
And you start thinking about all these great things that are going to happen. But then as soon as you decide no to it, suddenly it's like, ugh, yeah, that was better. That's
if
better.
you say yes to something, you're saying no to other things.
Yeah.
And that I have to remember that too.
Yes.
So if I say yes to a co-op, that's like a one-day thing. I'm saying no to keeping our routine that day at home, doing a read aloud that day.
Yep.
Going outside that day. I'm saying no to all of those things.
Yeah.
And I'm also saying yes to me frantically getting the kids out of the house on time.
I was just thinking about that.
Yelling at everybody to get going, packing lunches.
Yep.
And then driving home in traffic or whatever. So you don't think all of that through when you first hear about it.
Yes. You just think this magical day
I'm going to have some
happen.
time off.
Yes. I'm going to go sit in a coffee shop. It's going to be so amazing. My kids are going to make best friends with everyone. And yeah, it's going to be the best day ever. It'll be a great balance to our week. And then in reality, is it really going to be like that?
Yeah. And I think some are.
Yes, I think so.
Some activities and co-ops and clubs are like that, and I think it's just hard to discern,
and those are the heck yeses.
Yes, for sure. It's just hard to discern what those are in my mind.
Yes,
but I
agree.
I don't know, I'm like coming to slowly dropping everything off, and it feels so good.
And sometimes you just have to try them out to know
if
it's gonna work too. So I get that. That's how I mean, how I make decisions a lot of times is just trying things out. That's the best way for me. But also, I don't want to try something out, I guess, if it's like across the city and, if I'm already not super excited about it. No, but
I think the older this comes with age for me, the older I get and the longer I've been homeschooling, the more simpler our homeschool gets every year. I mean, every year it gets simpler, and my kids are getting older, which you'd think it would be the opposite.
I was just going to say.
But I feel like we're doing less and less every year, and I'm realizing the importance of doing things close to home.
Yes.
Like whatever appointments or clubs or activities, having them be close to home is so important.
It is.
And so, I mean, we're doing less this year than last year. So I feel like that's a win for me. It's just like a relief.
So are you doing less with curriculum, co-ops, or clubs?
I think I'm doing less. I'm packing less into our week.
Yeah. In general, like across the board.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. I mean, my kids are getting older. So actually, I would say the clubs or activities, they might be doing more of that. Or what they're doing is more intense. For example, my 13-year-old is doing a play this fall, and she has practice every single night.
Yeah.
The whole night, 6 to 9.
Right.
So that's intense for us and her. And, if we had younger kids, we would not be doing that.
Yep.
But that's a priority.
Yep.
And so I think in some ways we're doing more like that.
Right.
But it's causing me to then during the day really pare down.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we have to value how much she's learning right in that experience.
For sure.
I mean,
for sure.
If that's all she did for
it'd
homeschool
be good,
for this
be
semester.
Good enough.
Yeah. And that's a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah. And so regarding curriculum, though, I think I'm just focusing on a couple things this year.
Yeah.
I'm focusing on reading aloud.
Great.
Because I like doing that.
Yep.
And I feel like it's really beneficial. And I'm focusing on math.
Yes.
I haven't settled on a math curriculum or program or anything yet for all my kids. I'm still looking into that. But each of them is going to do something. And then Brave Writer. Yeah. And that's just going to be a little bit each day. And so my hope is See, we can find out in May how this really went.
Right, I know. Or October.
Yeah.
That's how I feel like for me.
Or 2 weeks later. Yeah.
I know.
My hope is that we're going to just get that done in the morning.
Yeah.
And then have the afternoon to like go on adventures, read, get outside, go to the movies, whatever.
That's so great.
Yeah. How about you?
So I am feeling really the same way. What we are going to do is, I mean, it's definitely going to be about reading out loud, which is my favorite. Now, here's the thing about reading out loud. I think I might have to change it up this year because starting our day out with read aloud has been getting increasingly more difficult. Mainly it's my oldest child.
Okay.
Who, it's just real tough to start the day out with her with reading aloud. It just is.
Because she sleeps in.
Well, yeah, kind of. Yeah, she sleeps in, or we wake her up, but then it's just she's not in the right.
She's not ready for
frame of mind to be listening to a story for an hour. Yeah, she just does not want that. But it's actually one of her best strengths as a learner is listening to stories. So, but what her best time of day is probably right before bed. So even just this summer, she and I've been reading just to her before bedtime. And it's been magical. It's been so wonderful.
Good for you.
I know. And I'm sad because like the whole family read aloud hasn't happened this summer.
Yeah.
I'm really sad about that. I mean, that's my favorite thing. But if it's not working for everybody, then it's not working.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if we're going to do, we'll see how it all works. Maybe we'll do an after lunch read aloud for everybody. Maybe that's a better time for all of us. But I also do want to focus on reading aloud with each of my kids. And it's not obviously not going to be every day. I have 4 kids. I can't sit down and read chapters upon chapters. I would like to do that all day, but it's just not possible. But maybe once a week I sit down and really I read. I would like to have a special book with each of my kids that we're reading.
That's such a great goal.
I mean, I just feel like it kind of I don't know. It's like kind of a restart to my personal relationship with each of my kids when we sit down and read together. I feel like it's just, it just reignites it. So yeah. And that's my strength. I mean, my husband is great at wrestling with my kids. Yeah. I'm not doing that. So I can sit down and read with my kids. That's my favorite thing. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, so the read aloud is definitely important to me. And, read alouds often cover history and
for sure.
There's so many things. So I'm counting all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's not just read aloud. We're going to do some Brave Writer stuff. And, we have Logic of English, which we are doing a very minimal amount in.
Yep.
I'm going to do that with my 11 and 2 9-year-olds this year. Just like the very basic. We're doing 10% of it, maybe.
Yep. Okay.
That's about it. And math is going to be very quick and daily. So it's going to be short, but I'm going to try and get it in every day. I think my kids need more consistent math, but less big chunks of math.
Yeah.
So, and I think we're going to continue to do that with CTC math this year. We'll see how that goes. It's always, it's always fluid.
Yep, for sure.
Yep. And I'm trying to think. Yep, deer time is always going to be important. Let's see.
Deer time is drop everything and read.
Yes, drop everything and read.
Are you going to do that in the afternoon or morning, or do you know?
Well, this is where I think maybe I'll just flip around where I had read aloud and deer time, because I had been doing read aloud in the morning, deer time in the afternoon. But since my 3 younger kids are up early, they could certainly just wake up and start reading in the morning. I mean, it's kind of good because then they're not waking everybody else up either. And
yeah, and you like to read in the morning.
I like to read in the morning. I like a little quiet in the morning. So that might work out great. And then as far as co-ops and stuff, or activities, definitely Adventure Co is really important to us. And especially you'll have to listen to Greta next week. You'll all want to do Adventure Co. But talking with her maybe just like really solidify that choice. And one of my 9-year-olds really wants to do orchestra, and I'm trying to decide if that is a heck yes or not. I think it's so important to her. She's been wanting it.
It's a heck yes for her.
It's for her. It's a huge heck yes. So I just feel like I want to honor that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we're doing monthly camping trips still, not tent camping. So I'm not a hero. This is camper camping. So camper cabin camping.
It's still, you're still a hero.
No.
For making it happen.
No, see, that's where those are my strengths though. Like I'm not strong at getting my kids to spell things correctly, but I am great at going on adventures. So we're going to do that.
Good.
Yep. And I have, my oldest daughter is really into animals. So she's going to be doing some horse activities, and we're hoping to find an urban 4-H club.
Oh.
So
do they have urban?
They do.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they have urban 4-H clubs. And, we live real close to the U of M, and they are a hub for, that's where the 4-H center is. So there's lots going on in nearby. So we're just trying to find a good place for her.
Nice.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to count I'm counting that as homeschool. When she goes to 4-H, if she finds that good place, that is going to be school for her. I mean, a big part of it. So I have to incorporate that into my mindset that's her learning.
Right. You can't have a full day of homeschool and then have her go to 4-H at night. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, and because a lot of these activities that we're finding are for everybody. They're not just for homeschool kids.
Yeah.
That's just where we are gravitated. We gravitate towards less homeschooly activities, I guess. I don't know. I didn't think that we would, but that's what's happening kind of. And so those things are happening in the evenings and on the weekends. So that just means I need to block out, less, I need to block out some time during the week so they can have some downtime too. So,
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another big change I'm making this year, it's not a big change, but it's big to me, is, my kids do jobs every day. I think yours do too.
Yeah.
And I've always done those in the morning. Like, because it's really important. It's really important to Jeremy and I that our kids do jobs.
Yeah.
And so because it's so important, we put it in the morning. But I realized what happened is, nobody likes doing it. The kids don't like doing it.
Yeah.
So they kind of take a long time and drag their feet. And then it takes like a big chunk of your morning.
I know.
Which is like kind of prime time.
Yeah, right.
So I'm moving that out of the morning, and I have not told Jeremy this yet. So surprise, Jeremy. He doesn't listen, but I'm going to put it on the nights and weekends, and he can be in charge of it because he's real passionate about it anyway. So I feel like, why not?
No kidding.
Why not? Why not do it nights and weekends?
Leverage his strengths too.
Yeah, and then we can both, kind of be in charge.
And he gets to be involved. You're using his strengths in those activities, and you're using your strengths in the things you're going to do with kids. That's a win-win.
Yep. So I think that's going to really help our mornings, because I feel like, now we're going to have lots of time, because that took us like 45 minutes in the morning.
Yeah. Okay. So then another thing I know we both want to do is go to movies.
Oh, yeah.
Because we found out about $5 Tuesdays.
Last year, yep.
Since then,
I know.
We've been on that train.
Totally.
And there are some great quality movies out there.
Yeah, and I feel like my kids are older now, and so we can go to all the PG and probably all the PG-13s. So the only ones we can't see are R. So I feel like there's just a lot of choices. There's usually one every week.
Yeah, I mean, and, we talked with Julie Bogart about how movies are often like it's great storytelling. I mean,
it's so good.
There's a lot of learning that happens in movies. Yeah. And it's just a great way, especially for us in the middle of winter, to get out of the house sometimes.
For sure.
So it's a great option for us. Now that we've kind of thought about doing movies and some of these clubs and Adventure Co. and camping and some of these things, there's really not a lot of time to do all the other
I know.
clubs and co-ops and sports. I mean, there's just so many things we have to say no to if we want to do those important things.
Yeah. And I'm well aware that I have an 8th grader. And somebody asked us in our Facebook group recently, like, what are my plans for high school with her?
Yes.
And I could get into that another time, but long story short, I don't know. I'm open to to what comes our way.
Yeah.
And I really would love to homeschool her still, but I am also open to what she wants and what comes up, and I'm not anti-school for sure.
Yeah.
So, I'm thinking, what if this is my last year with her? Like, it could be. And I want to savor it. I want to be doing fun things. She loves field trips and getting out.
That's right. Oh, I remember. I saw her face light up when you said field trips the other day.
I know. I know.
She was so excited.
I think I need to embrace that and do more of that with her, because I want to make memories that and do things she's going to enjoy. And all my kids will enjoy.
I think it's easy to, not easy, but I think our go-to thought many times as homeschool parents is, well, if I really want to, prepare them for the world, I need to get them to catch up to where, any 8th grader would be, right? But we are on a different track. We're like, we're doing things differently. We're not going to look like an 8th grader who's been through public school since kindergarten, right?
Yeah.
So I think sometimes our question is, when they get older, how do I need to prepare them for the next part of school, their next level of school or whatever? But maybe, like you're thinking a better question might be, how can I make the most of my last few years at home with my kid, with my child? How can I really, you can lift your children up and prepare them, like, mentally and emotionally for the real world.
Right. Well, I think it's both. I mean, I think she should be prepared academically too. I don't want to downplay that.
You don't. Yeah. Right.
But yeah, I think it's definitely both. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's good to just remember, like, it's very good. It's good that she is doing lots of, academic stuff. And then also so good that that's not, like,
it's not the major
the
focus.
one reason you have her home for 8th grade.
She's going to have plenty of years, if she chooses, of being academically focused.
Yes.
She can do that in high school, in college, if she decides to do that.
Right.
And, that's not really fun. I mean, that's going to be challenging.
Right.
I mean, I remember that being very challenging for me. So I know it's going to be challenging. I don't need to push that now.
Yeah. And I think it's good for us, especially when our kids are younger, to kind of let them take the lead a little bit on things, so you have a little bit of a gauge on where they are comfortable being academically too. Yeah. I mean, if you're always the one leading the way, or, molding every part of their education, then how do you know where they naturally are?
Yeah, for sure.
So that's great.
All right. This was a great starter conversation on the year. I will be curious to see how this all plays out in actuality.
We'll have to have some updates.
Oh, yeah. And we are actually going to be doing that this fall. We created our schedule, and once a month we're going to be just checking in and asking how it went for the month.
Yeah. So we will
be able to update everybody.
Yeah. Kind of like how we did it in the summer, our summer mode schedule, but we're going to do that a little bit throughout the year. So we're going to talk about what's going well, what needs tweaking. And we're going to do our self-care check-in too, because that was good.
Yeah, we need that.
I need that.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's move on to loving this week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Angela, what are you loving this week?
You always ask me first. So
I know, sorry.
No, that's great. You can ask me first.
Okay, go for it.
I always go first. Okay. I saw a movie this weekend that I loved. And I think everybody should see it if they're into it. 8th grade.
Yes,
You've heard of this, right?
I have, yes.
It was so good. I think if you've been in 8th grade before, or you have kids, or if you have kids coming up on that age, it's like this. It's about this girl who's in 8th grade, and just the awkwardness.
Oh yeah,
of that time. And we all remember that probably from our own experiences, but it's, updated now because things are a little different now. So there's social media and, stuff like that. Yeah. And so it's just, it was so well done. Such good acting, such a good story. And like I mean, it was awkward, but also awkward because like we all remember being there. And we can envision what that would be like.
Yeah. Totally.
To be that age.
Oh my gosh.
She's just trying to figure out like, how to make friends and how to talk to her dad, and it's just really good.
Oh. So was it kind of hard to watch?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It was hard to watch. It was awkward.
It'd be hard for me.
Yeah. But really good.
But still so good.
Yeah. So I told Jeremy about it and I want to take him.
Yeah.
And then he said, "Could we bring our daughter?" And I said, "There's a few iffy things. I don't even know what it's rated. I'd have to check."
Okay.
So I'm not sure if I'm ready for that.
Yeah. Okay.
But also, I feel like if she were in school, she'd be hearing that stuff.
She'd be dealing with it.
I know. So I don't know. It's just at least a good conversation starter for us with her.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Well, so good. How about you? What are you loving this week?
All right. I am loving a book, and I'm just, because we are a clean podcast, I'm not going to say the word exactly, but it's called "You Are a Bad A." A bad A.
Yep.
And the subtitle is "How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life."
Oh, yeah.
It's so empowering, and I think we all need to read this book. I think we all need to just read it.
Who's the author?
Oh, sorry. By Jen Sincero, I think is her name.
Yeah.
Sincero.
I read another one of hers, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about it.
Goodness. Well, I mean, I'm not even halfway through it, but I'm already loving it. So
yeah,
it's so good. So the first section is all about how we have kind of bought into the lies of how we're not good enough to do anything, and I'm just gonna accept this life of mediocrity and just barely being able to pay my rent and have these mediocre relationships and a job that I'm just kind of like or whatever, and just be here and just survive or whatever. And how she just talks so much about how that is just, we were made for so much more than that, and you have been given everything inside of you. You have everything inside of you to do something very unique in this world, and it's so important that the world gets to see that. And it's so empowering, and I want us all to read it and talk about it together.
Yeah.
I want to hear from everybody.
Yeah. I feel like that took me, I mean, I'm not saying I've learned it. I've started thinking about that stuff in the last few years.
Yeah.
But I wish I had that confidence earlier.
Yes. Me too.
Yeah.
I wish I wish this is the kind of talk I had like throughout my whole life, but like especially in college, so that when I left college, I felt like I can do what I meant to do now. I did not feel that way when I left college.
I have special gifts and talents.
Yes.
Unique ones.
Right.
Because I think the message I got was, no, you're starting at the bottom at this job, and when you get more experience, you'll just work your way up.
Yeah, and I felt my message was kind of more like, find a job where you get reliable money. I mean, you want to find something where, you're going to make, you can depend on something. Once you have, a skill or something where you can, make money reliably, then you can adventure out or whatever. But you have to have this. Backup. You have to have this skill or something, which it makes sense. It does make sense. I get it. But mostly I learned I need something to, pay my bills.
Yeah, you take the safe path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What makes the most sense in this world, and you need insurance and all this stuff, so how are you going to pay for all that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's good to think about that stuff too. But this is like hits at the core of who you are, who we all are as people. So it's very inspiring.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I read her other one about making money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it was similar to what you're talking about.
Okay.
But it was more about, finding interesting, fun ways using your special skills and talents, believing in yourself, having confidence in yourself that you can do it.
Yeah.
And just doing it.
Yeah, yeah. And that you're really worth making money. I mean, you're worth,
for sure.
You don't have to do everything for free for the rest of your life. Like,
right.
Your skills are worth something. Definitely.
Right.
So, yeah.
I mean, I definitely thought about that with us starting the podcast because we were like insecure starting it. Like, who are we? We're just two people who have never done this before.
Yeah.
We don't know what we're doing.
Who would want to listen to us? Yeah.
Yeah. And after reading her book, the one about making money, I was like, yeah, we have something to offer and share. And I hope everybody feels that way about whatever they're doing.
The world would be a better place if we all believed that.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So good.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening. We appreciate you. You can find us on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram at Homeschool Unrefined. We have a website, homeschoolunrefined.com, and you can find links to everything that we talked about there and show notes. So we will see you next week with Greta.
Thanks for listening. Homeschool Unrefined was created by Maren Gorse and Angela Sizer. Thanks to Gambler's Daughter for providing the music for our show. You can find Gambler's Daughter at facebook.com/gamblersdaugghtermusic.